The final domino has fallen, Broncos country. The wait is over, and the Mile High faithful just got news that will shake the entire NFL. Star pass rusher Nik Bonitto has officially locked in a massive contract extension with the Denver Broncos. It's a 4-year deal worth $106 million, with incentives that could push it as high as $120 million. That's $26.5 million per year guaranteed, and potentially $30 million annually if he hits those marks. And here's the kicker, $70 million guaranteed. This is monumental, not just because of the money, but because it proves something even bigger. Denver's stars are choosing to buy in. They're sacrificing the absolute max dollar deals they could demand, in order to keep this team together and chase a championship. We saw Courtland Sutton do it with his 4-year, $92 million deal. Now Bonitto follows suit. After Micah Parsons reset the market, Bonitto could have easily drawn a line in the sand and demanded north of $30 million per year. Nobody would have blamed him. But instead, he chose loyalty, belief, and the vision of bringing a Lombardi trophy back to Denver. That's what makes this so powerful. These aren't just contracts. These are statements. Statements that the Broncos' championship window isn't on the horizon, it's opening right now. Players like Bonitto know their worth. They all want top dollar. Yet when you see them take team-friendly deals to stay in orange and blue, it speaks volumes about what's being built at Mile High. And make no mistake, Bonitto has earned every penny. His relentless ability to hunt down quarterbacks turned heads across the league last year. Now, he's not just the future, he's the foundation. Last season, Nik Bonitto proved he's already one of the league's elite pass rushers, finishing third in sacks across the entire NFL. But what's even more impressive is the way he's attacking his weaknesses. He knows that if he wants to be remembered as more than just a sack artist, he has to evolve into a complete defender. This offseason, Bonitto doubled down on stopping the run. He's been vocal about improving that side of his game, putting in the work to become not just a specialist, but a true all-around force. That's the mark of a player who isn't satisfied with highlights. He's hungry for greatness. And here's the bigger picture, Bonitto understands what it takes to build a champion. He could have easily demanded top dollar, and nobody would have blinked. But instead, he looked at the Broncos roster, looked at the fact that Bo Nix is still on a rookie deal, and made the choice to help keep the team's window wide open. That's not just business. That's belief. What does it say about Bonitto? It says he's more than a star. He's a leader. A player who's willing to sacrifice a few extra millions because he sees something larger on the horizon, a Lombardi trophy coming back to Denver. Not every star takes that route. Around the league, we see players chase the biggest check, and they're entitled to it. But Bonitto? He's sending a message. This isn't just about money. This is about building something historic at Mile High. Nik Bonitto could have demanded every penny on the table. He could have said, "Pay me top dollar or I walk," and nobody would have questioned it. But he understood the bigger picture. He knew that if Denver wants to keep this defense stacked and keep the championship window alive, sacrifices have to be made. Now, some critics might point out that Bonitto only has one monster season of production, and they'd argue he was paid exactly what he's worth, not a penny more. Fair argument. But let's break it down. NFL contracts often come down to three things: production, recency, and trajectory. Bonitto checks every single box. He delivered big-time numbers last season, 13.5 sacks, a top 3 finish in the league. That's productivity. He did it last year, on the biggest stage. That's recency. And at just the beginning of his prime, his trajectory screams future superstar. This isn't just a gamble on potential, it's a reward for proven dominance and a bet on what's still to come. The Broncos didn't just lock up a pass rusher. They locked up a cornerstone. And the best part? Because Bonitto didn't break the bank, Denver now has breathing room. This decision isn't just about him, it impacts the entire roster. It means the Broncos can keep building around this young core, and it sends a message to every player in that locker room: if you buy in, if you believe in the vision, there's a future here worth fighting for. And don't think this stops with Bonitto. Moves like this ripple across the roster. Veterans like John Franklin Myers are watching closely, and what Bonitto just did speaks volumes about where the organization stands and the kind of culture being built in Denver. Now let's shift the focus to John Franklin Myers. A while back, the Broncos' priority list for extensions became clear: first Courtland Sutton, then Zach Allen, followed by Nik Bonitto, and finally Franklin Myers. And it makes sense. Sutton was locked in as a leader on offense, a veteran presence who will likely finish his career in Denver. Allen is right in the middle of his prime, securing his big payday while anchoring the defensive line. Bonitto, of course, represents the future, a young pass-rushing star just entering his prime years. That leaves Franklin Myers. He may not sit at the very top of Denver's priority ladder, but don't mistake that for being expendable. His value to this defense is real, and the Broncos' ability to keep him will be shaped by the moves they've already made with their core three. What's clear in all of this is Sean Payton and George Paton's vision for this roster. They aren't just signing talent, they're building a foundation. They've identified their pillars: Sutton, Allen, and Bonitto. Players who can be cornerstones as Denver makes its push back to relevance. Franklin Myers is part of that picture too, but his future will hinge on how much flexibility remains after the big deal's already in place. For John Franklin Myers, this season feels like a challenge, a prove-it year. Don't get it wrong, he was a strong addition to Denver's defensive line last season, bringing toughness and production. But the message from Sean Payton and George Paton seems clear: if you want that second contract in Denver, you've got to earn it on the field. Franklin Myers isn't seen in the same tier as Zach Allen, and unlike some of the other core players, he wasn't drafted by this front office. That means the burden is on him to show he belongs long-term. His camp could probably walk into negotiations today and secure a solid deal, something in the $13 million per year range. But reports suggest he's aiming higher, closer to the $20 million mark. That's elite money. So what happens now? The Broncos are likely taking the wait-and-see approach. If Franklin Myers balls out this season, racks up sacks, and proves his worth as a difference-maker, he'll get paid, whether in Denver or somewhere else. But if not, the team could consider moving him before the trade deadline. A deal could bring back valuable draft capital while also clearing future cap space. Last year's numbers, around 8 sacks and 7 tackles for loss, show he's already a force up front. But in Denver's new era, it's about more than good numbers. It's about proving you're one of the pillars, one of the true building blocks of this defense. That's what's at stake for Franklin Myers. The Denver Broncos are locking down their foundation. Nik Bonitto, Zach Allen, Courtland Sutton, Jonathan Cooper, DJ Jones, all secured. The message is clear: this organization is building for the long haul. That leaves just a few names on the horizon. Bo Nix is still on his rookie deal, and John Franklin Myers remains the last major piece still waiting for clarity. But make no mistake, this is how great franchises operate. They set expectations, they establish culture, and they challenge players to buy into something bigger than themselves. If you want to be remembered in Denver, if you want to lift the Lombardi and be celebrated as part of this city's legacy, sometimes it means taking a deal that puts the team first. And that's exactly what Bonitto just did. With his extension, Denver now has its defensive core locked in. A top-3 organizational culture in the NFL, a roster built to win, and a fanbase starving for glory. The mile-high standard is back, and the Broncos are sending a message to the entire league: this team is ready to fight for championships again. Football season is here. Denver's stars are locked in. The window is open. And Broncos country, you can feel it, something special is coming.